Hey, Jesse James here with Stay Ready. Today I taught a concealed carry class, so I'm going to be cleaning the firearms that I taught the class with. So I like to give my students choices. So this is the Smith & Wesson M&P 22 LR. It's a compact firearm. It's 22, so a lot of the newer students, I like to let them use that just so they feel comfortable with it. They're not too intimidated by it. I also like to use my Smith & Wesson M&P Shield EZ. It's easy to handle, easy to load, easy to do everything with. So a lot of students like that too. And that's also in 380. So once again, it's not as big a kick as a 9. And this is my Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus. So has a dual stage trigger on it. This is just a basic one. It's not optic ready or anything, but it's still one of my favorites. I still like this thing. So anytime, I think today we put 50 to 100 rounds through each one. So anytime I put any type of rounds through it, I like to clean them. And I'll be using the Real Avid stuff here. I got the Real Avid COP, the aerosol spray. I like to spray because it kind of gets into all the nooks and crannies. And then the gunk blaster here. I like the gunk blaster because it just blasts away all that carbon, debris, just any buildup that's in there, any of that unburnt powder. It gets rid of that. It kind of breaks it up so you can scrape it out with a brush or any type of pick or anything. And then the bore foam, that's just, to kind of get into them areas. And with the foam, it really just flushes everything out. It just pushes it out. Then I got the CLP oil right there too. So, all right, I'm going to show you the kit that I'll be cleaning with. So this is the Real Avid cleaning kit right here. This comes in like a little suitcase thing. So just take off the lid here. So with this, we got all our picks, we got our brushes, we got our poles to really get in there. And then these are just all the brushes and jags and everything. And once you lift this up, then you got all your speed patches right here to go through. And then, I got some regular patches in here too. All right, let's get cleaning. Okay, so now on to cleaning. So I like to do one at a time. So I'm just gonna put the Shield Easy and the 22, just put them kind of off to the side. Just focus on one thing at a time. So the Shield piece, or excuse me, the Shield Plus. So first thing we do, we need to make sure it's empty. So let's lock the slide back. We can see down in there, it's, we can see the table. We see down into the barrel. That's all empty. So now we are good to go. All right. Takedown lever. Just push that forward. Unlatch it. And with Smith & Wesson, you do have to pull the trigger to get it to release. So I'll pull the trigger. That comes apart. So for the grip, the handle here, let's just set that to the side. And we'll start with this piece here. We'll start with the barrel. Pull that apart. Now you can kind of see, yeah, it's a little bit of oily buildup on there. All right, cool. All right, so now what I like to do is usually when I use my patches, if they're not too bad, I don't throw them away. So with this here, because I can use it for little stuff like this. So off camera here, I got a vise set up. I'm gonna shoot some of this bore foam. I'm gonna shoot some of this bore foam in here to kind of just start this process here of cleaning this out. So you can kind of see it coming out there. So I'm just gonna put this on my vise off camera here. I got it sitting upside down so it can just kind of slowly drain. And I like to do this just to let it drain so it can kind of just take its time. And while that's draining, I'm gonna put a little bit more in here just to kind of let it just do its thing and drain and break all that built up carbon and stuff in there, break all that up. So now we got the slide, we got the spring. So with the spring here, And like I said, people do this different. It's however you feel, whatever you want to do. This is just how, what I do. This is just my routine. But so I got my real avid gunk blaster here. So just take this and just trying to get rid of all the old oil and everything that's holding on to any of that carbon or burnt powder or unburnt powder. Just kind of blow that off. You don't need to do a whole lot. You don't need to get too crazy with that. But, all right, that's that. I'm just sit this there. I'm going to get my tray back out the way. All right, put my gunk blaster back. All right, so now we'll do the slide here. Okay, so now this is the slide. All right, still looks pretty good. But once again, anytime I put, 50 plus rounds through, I just like to clean it up real good. I like to take care of this thing because I want this thing to take care of me. So now, it's kind of dark. Let me adjust my light here. Make sure you can see down in there. All right, that's a little bit better. Okay, so now, just take this. I like to spray it pretty good. You don't need to, overspray it or really douse it. Yeah. Then just get up in the corners here. And with this aerosol, with this gunk blaster, it comes out pretty good and powerful. So you don't have to use too much of it, or you don't have to do anything too crazy with it. Just a couple sprays. And then you can kind of see how it's, where it kind of took everything off, knocked a lot of that gunk out of there. So here, I'm going to use a clean patch so you can see. So just a clean patch right here. And now, let's see. It wasn't too bad in there. Like I said, I only put about, I think with the 9, I only put about 50 rounds through it. Most of the students today, they wanted to use the 22 or the 380. And like I said, I like for them to use that because I want them to be comfortable trying to take the test for the concealed carry during the qualifier. So just rub this in there. And then if there is anything extra, if there's like built up carbon or anything, then that's when you can go to your picks. Or, with the Real Avid kit, they have, brushes, steel brushes, or excuse me, brass brushes to really, get in there and really knock all that carbon out and everything. So right here, where the pin comes out at, where the firing pin comes out at, I just like to take this and take the brush and just really, get in there as good as possible. I try to avoid spraying any chemicals directly in there, just because you really don't want to build up right there. You could cause some issues later on. And the bad part is you won't know that you have issues until you're at the firing range or you're trying to defend yourself and you go to pull the trigger and it just clicks and nothing happens. That's a bad time to find out that you got problems. So, all right, just kind of wipe this down here. And I know a lot of people be like, yeah, in all your videos, you got all Real Avid stuff. And it's just like, yeah, that's just what I found that I like. I like their chemical composition. I like everything that's in there. They work really good for me. I've been doing this for 8-9 years or so, and I've used all types of chemicals, and I use all types of cleaning kits, gun kits, and yeah, I just like the way they're set up. I showed you the suitcase earlier, and to me, it just works great. I like it. So, I mean, you can try it out or try out something else and, see what you think. All right, so now we got the slide right here. So I wiped that down pretty good with the gunk blaster. I blasted a lot of that out. So now I'm going to use the oil. And for this here, it's kind of up to you what you want to do. If you want to do a lot of CLP, that's fine. I recommend not. I think if you just do just a little drop, that little drop will do you. So here you can see that oil there kind of running down. Yeah, there we go. That's all you want. You want just a little bit of oil running down. You don't need it, really flowing down. You want it shiny. I always tell people, hey, you want it shiny. You don't want it glistening. When you hold it like this and you can see the oil running, that's too much. But what I did was I just put some drops up here on both sides, and then I'm just letting it run down. And now, I'm kind of holding it like this just to let it fully run down. Now, I'm taking my patch and kind of get my fingernail in there too in that groove, and then I just push it down. A little bit of back and forth action. Same thing on the other side. I like the oil everywhere that it's going to be metal on metal touching. Anywhere where, like right here, this is going to be riding along that slide. So just put some drops there. I like to wear rubber gloves with this stuff too, because this stuff is really good. It's really potent, and it's going to leave, that residue. And I don't know, when you're trying to wash oil off, it's only so much washing you can do, and it's kind of a fight. So I figure with the gloves, I let the gloves get all oily and sticky and dirty, and then I just pull them off and I'm done. So this is it here. Now just taking my patch and really just, rubbing a lot of the oil around in there. And then really I'm just rubbing the COP. I'm just rubbing that on the slide itself, just because a lot of that gunk blaster got on there, and it just kind of it just kind of left like a little tint on there. So I'm really just knocking that down. So just to bring it back to the nice, beautiful finish that was on there, just to maintain that. All right, looks good. All right, and it's still pretty good and oily. Like I said, you see how shiny it is? When you apply oil, you just want it shiny. You don't want to hold it like this and the oil's running down and starting to puddle up. That's too much, because anytime you start to fire that, all that leftover debris and burnt powder, unburnt powder, all that carbon and stuff, that oil is going to attract that, and it's going to hold on to it. And then that can cause your firearm to malfunction too. So that's just something that you want to stay away from. All right, so we'll put that off to the side. Now to our barrel. Like I said, I got the barrel sitting in the vise right now. I put a bunch of the bore foam in there. So that's that. It's looking pretty good now. So I'm going to do this part off camera again. But the only thing I'm doing now is I'm just going to take my gunk blaster. I got a little trash can here. And now I'm just going to take the gunk blaster and just blast it straight through there. And I'm using a gunk blaster to go outside the barrel too. So this way I'm really knocking down a lot of that leftover oil and whatever debris was left on there, that carbon buildup or anything. So just kind of shine it up, get everything off. All right. All right, yeah. See, that patch is just getting dirtier and dirtier, which is good, getting all that carbon off. Now I like to clean my feed ramp too. Clean that. Just anywhere that metal on metal is gonna be touching, or the brass is gonna be touching, or rubbing, or anything. I just like to clean it, make sure we get everything knocked off. Now, for the next part, I got my little apparatus here. My pole that's going to be going inside and clean out the inside of that, clean the inside of this barrel out. Excuse me. All right, so now I pulled out my brush here. So now I'm just attaching the brush to the end of the pole. And I like to just go a couple times. Just to kind of loosen up. 2-3 times. That's good enough. All right, so now we're going to pull the brush off. And now we're gonna put one of the jags on. So this is out of the Real Avid kit. This is a 9mm jag. So with the Real Avid kit that I got, I can do anywhere from a 22 all the way up to a 12 gauge with that kit. And like I said, it just works out for me. Anytime I go shooting, when I come back, I just grab my kit, and just that one kit, I can literally do everything. All right, pop this on there just like so. All right, just trying to get it to sit flat. There we go. All right, so now this part here, I just like to take a little bit of the COP. All right, you see that? I got the COP on there. Okay, now look at how this looks right now. And now just one time. All right. So you can see a little bit of the dirt that came off. That's that burnt powder and everything being forced out of that barrel. So now I'll pull this back up. And what I like about this kit is with your rifling inside of your barrel, let me see if we can get it to show here. Yeah, there you go. You can kind of see it there. The rifling inside the barrel, this brush and the speed jag, they're designed that they're just small enough that it'll go in there and scrape and clean everything, but it's not going to damage anything. So I'm putting on a brand new speed patch. You can see it's brand new here. So now there was so much COP on that first patch that I'm just going to do this one dry. So that way we just kind of clean up whatever was left behind. So let's see how this looks. Oh, that looks pretty good. All right. I kind of hate just using this and throwing this away, but I don't want to reuse the same patch too many times. So I'll just toss it away, even though I'm cheap and don't want to do that. So now I'm just going to put a little bit of COP on the outside of my barrel, because once again, the barrel is going to be something that's going to be kind of rubbing up against stuff. So I just want to make sure it's nice and shiny. Remember, not dripping. And I'm going to take this old patch that has a little bit of COP still on it. I'm just going to kind of wipe this down now, because like, once again, just want it nice and shiny. I don't want to have too thick of a coat on there, because that's going to be a bunch of buildup and everything, and that could malfunction at the wrong time. So here we go, nice and shiny. All right, cool. Let me get this stuff out the way. All right, so now, oh, you know what? I almost forgot the grip. All right, so for this, you know what? I'm just going to take some gunk blaster. I'm going to go off camera again, and you know what? Here, let me do this. Just so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. So now I'm just going to spray in here. Spray down in there. And once again, I like to spray everywhere that, you know, you see a bunch of powder built up. And you can see the spring right in there too. I just like to, you know, open that up, spray that. All right. I'm just going to flip this upside down, kind of let that drain out. All right. So I'm going to get this back out the way. I don't know. To me, I think when I go fire my firearms, usually when I'm done cleaning them, is almost just as much fun as me shooting them. But that's just me. And I know some other people kind of say that too, but I know a lot of people, they just be like, nope, I want to shoot them. That's it. All right. So I'm just getting rid of a lot of this extra gunk blaster here. And then I'm just kind of shining everything down, wiping everything down. Yeah, these patches are cheap and they are great to use. And personally, I know a lot of people like, oh well, you can get the same effect from a t-shirt or a bathing towel. And this is like, yeah, but from the bathing towel and a t-shirt, like after you take a shower and you start to wipe off, that bathing towel usually leaves a bunch of like lint and debris around. And I really don't want all that inside my firearm. Once again, this is something I'm using to protect my life. I don't want a damn cotton ball to get up in there and stop me from being able to do that. So it looks real good. When I pull the trigger, it doesn't feel gritty or dirty or anything. So even pulling it slow, yeah, I don't feel like there's any trapped debris in there. So, all right. Now you can see that spring. You can see everything is nice and clean. And you could run a patch down the mag well too, but I don't think it's too necessary. All right, so now let's apply. I said you don't want a lot. You don't need a lot. There we go. There. All right, there we go. There we go. All right. So now just take the glove, just kind of rub it all around anywhere that it's going to be touching, rubbing. Then let's kind of take one of the cleaner patches and just kind of go around and pat it dry. Like I said, we don't want it drenched. We don't want to see the oil running. We just want it nice and shiny. And I think this is a pretty good job. It's nice and shiny. All right, awesome. And then when we're done, we'll take another patch and kind of go through and do a final clean. We'll put that there. Now let's look at this again. And even though I just did it, I just like to double check. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Make sure it's nice and shiny. Make sure I got my COP on there, and which that all looks great to me. So now we're putting it back together. Got the barrel going in. Lock that back into place. And you know what? The spring. Let me throw just a little bit of COP on the spring. And I think for the spring, we'll just use the aerosol. And you really don't need a lot. So what I'm doing is I'm just barely tapping that button. And then whatever's left in the holes here, I'm just kind of tapping that, getting that to run down. Because you really don't need a lot on that spring. Because once again, I just used my gunk blaster a few minutes ago. And I really sprayed in there. I got all that out. So we just need just a little bit of COP. So now putting it back together. Putting the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus back together. Put this side in first. Push that in. At a weird angle here. There we go. All right, got that in. Just push it down and it's locked in. Oh. There you go. It's locked in. Excuse me. All right. So now everything is nice and oiled. See, we got everything nice and oiled. All right. So now let me do it this way so you can see it. So now we just put it on the slides here. See? There it just goes right on the slides. When you get here, you kind of have to wiggle around with it, play with it. There we go. So now we're back to here. Now it's actually on. Slide it all the way back. Slide lock. Lock it. We're done. That's it. And you can feel how nice and smooth it is. All that COP's in there working. And now, this is kind of like the unofficial test. But let's pull the trigger, see if it pops. There we go. And I felt comfortable pulling the trigger because I just got done cleaning it and putting it together. So I know for a fact that it's not loaded and it's completely safe. So, all right, now let's just wipe her down. And I use kind of this was an older patch that's, you know, been dried and everything. And I use this just because it's dry, and you know, I don't really need a brand new patch right now. So that's it. So this was cleaning the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus. Once again, thanks for watching. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting more videos on more firearms and other things to go too. So once again, be safe and stay ready.